Hi there, I'm Ravipan. This time, I'll explain how to team up with animals in Warframe and fight together. Meanwhile, here's how to use the cyst that appeared on Warframe's neck. In Warframe, the allies that fight with you are called companions. To team up with a companion, you need a companion slot. Use platinum to buy slots. You can earn platinum by trading, and what can be sold through trading was explained before. Earn platinum from trading, and team up with many different types of companions. Companions include the Sentinel, a small robot-like creature, the Hound, created by the boss sister, the Moor, which can be crafted in Orbalis on Venus, and the rest are beasts, the animal companions. In this video, I'll show you how to team up with these beasts. Beasts are roughly classified into the dog-like Kubrow, the cat-like Kavat, Predasite, and Vupaphyla. First, let's team up with Kubrow, a beast like a dog. To tame your first beast, you must complete a quest. When you log into Warframe, access the Codex terminal on the left side in your ship. Next, select Side Quests from the quest menu and access the Howl of the Kubrow quest. You can start the quest by clicking the button in the lower right corner. Next, go to Navigation and select Quest Mission from the Quest tab in the upper right corner. Here, a 5-minute survival mission will begin. Defeat the enemies and gather the capsules, and make sure the circular gauge on the left doesn't reach 0. If your gauge is at 70% or below, accessing the large capsule to increase the gauge is a good idea. Once it's finished and extracted, you can get the Incubator segment. Next, install segment at the yellow marker in the ship. Then, get the egg of Kubrow. Start the mission like before and destroy the Kubrow's nest at the indicated location. Now you can get the Kubrow's egg. Next, access the incubator and use an egg and an incubator power core to hatch the egg. You can get the incubator power core by completing the Vox Solaris quest, which is a task at Mercury Junction. Once you enter Fortuna on Venus and speak to Utico, you can begin the quest. More incubator power cores will be needed soon. You can buy the blueprints needed to craft it using credits at the market terminal on the right. After accessing the market, click here to open the tab. Then select the companions option. From here, you should be able to find the incubator power core. Choose a blueprint and buy it with credits. You can mostly get resources by going to Void and Deimos. Once you have the egg and the power core, start the incubation process. After a while, Kubrow will appear. Now, let's give them a name. Then, access the incubator and mature your Kubrow. Finally, let's complete the Howl of Kubrow quest with Kubrow. After clearing it, you will be able to add Kubrow as an ally and fight together. Once you complete the Howl of Kubrow quest, team up with additional Kubrows. Unlike quests, there are fewer steps needed. First, mass produce the power cores using the blueprints you bought at the market. Then, head out on the Earth Forest mission, find Kubrow's nest, and destroy it. Just like in the quest, you can get Kubrow eggs. Next, access the incubator and select the Kubrow breeding option. All you need to do is use the egg and the incubator power core to start a random incubation. However, it takes 48 hours to hatch. To shorten the time to hatch eggs, you need the Nutrial Incubator Upgrade Segment blueprint. If you want to get this blueprint, join a clan, go to Dojo, Clan Facility, and buy the blueprint from Tenola. However, to get the blueprint, you must reach Mastery Rank 5 or higher. Let's raise your Mastery rank. After completing various missions and crafting equipment, you should be able to start the Mastery rank test from the menu. If you pass the test, your mastery rank should rise. Then, gather Oxium from the Oxium Osprey in Corpus. Other resources are power cores and argon crystals, so it should be easy. With this, you can create a Nutrial Incubator Upgrade segment and shorten the time to hatching. Now, let's see the types of Kubrow and their abilities. There are 5 types of Kubrow: Chesa, Huras, Sahaza, Raksa, and Smeeta. Each type of Kubrow has 2 ability mods, and using these allows them to unleash their unique abilities. Chesa Kubrow's Retrieve mod allows you to gather additional resources from enemy corpses. It's great for gathering resources, but the effect of Necros' ability are weakened, so they work better with Warframe other than Necros. Also, in other mode called Neutralize, they can disarm enemies. Using first Kubrow's Stalk ability makes a Warframe invisible when enemies are nearby. If Warframe isn't using a weapon, they can become invisible. So, it's recommended when fighting using only abilities. However, using a weapon summoned by an ability will cancel this invisibility effect. If you install the Hunt mod, it can further increase attack power. Sahasa has Tick, which provides ammunition and energy orbs repeatedly. It works well with Warframe that require energy when you start the mission. You can also trigger the finisher with Ferocity, but it seems rarely used. Raxa uses abilities like Howl and Protect to reduce enemies' attack power and increase the Warframe's shield. Sugika is known for their aggressive abilities such as Savagery and Unleashed. If you need resources, bring Chesa. If you plan to fight using only abilities, bring Huras. For an easier start to the mission, bring Sahasa. To boost Warframe survivability, bring Raxa. And if you need firepower from Kubrow, bring Sugika. It might be a good idea to assign roles like this. Next, let's generate a Helminth charger from the Cyst on Warframe's neck. First, open the menu and select Public in the top left corner. Then, with your brand new Warframe, team up with strangers and clear missions together. This infects Warframe with a virus, causing a cyst on the neck. The cyst can be removed in the room at the back of the ship, but I'm not going to remove it this time. After 6 days, it grows a large size, and tiny tentacles should appear at the tip of the pink cyst. Next, access the Incubator. When you do this, an option called Drain will appear in the Kubrow breeding menu. Now, the cyst on Warframe's neck is gone, and you can generate a Helminth charger. The Helminth charger can spread corrosive damage and increase its attack options with the unique strain set mod. If a cyst has appeared on Warframe's neck again, and you want to remove it, go to the back room in the ship to remove it. However, please note that you won't be able to generate Helminth chargers with that Warframe. Next, let's team up with Kavat, the cat-like beast. The Incubator segment is essential here, so you must complete the Howl of Kubrow Quest beforehand. Once you have completed it, buy a codex scanner from the market. After buying it, set it to your gear. Access your arsenal and select the gear icon. Open the gear menu and select slot. Then add the scanner and it's ready. For now, I'll be using a regular scanner, but you can also scan using the synthesis scanner. This scanner is a must use as it can increase the number of scans or even provide an infinite number of scans. For more details, please watch the video about scanning. Now, let's head to Extermination on Deimos. If you look closely, you should find an invisible wild Kavat. Deploy your gear, equip the scanner, and hold down the shooting button to scan it. If you are lucky, you can get the Kavat genetic code. Sometimes, companions will automatically defeat wild Kavat, so you should remove your companion if it's not working. If you select None in the Arsenal's companion section, you can go on missions with just Warframe. Scan successfully and gather 20 Kavat genetic code. After the second time, you can hatch one Kavat by gathering 10 of them. However, scanning in this ordinary way is quite challenging. In the Sons of Inaros quest, you may encounter many wild Kavat. Gather Prime Gear and buy the quest blueprint from Barketeer. For more, please check my previous video. If gathering the Kavat genetic code is too difficult, try focusing on unlocking the Steel Pass instead. In the Steel Pass, the drop chance for resources increases. Plus, if you use an orange resource booster, you can get the Kavat genetic code from one wild Kavat in the same mission for sure. If you are really stuck, give it a try. Once you gather the Kavat genetic code, get the Kavat Incubator upgrade segment blueprint and build it. You can get it by joining a clan and buying it from Tenla in the dojo. If you can't join a clan, you can get it from Hayaka Master. You should be able to encounter them when going on the Saturn, Lua, and Sedna defense mission. Once you have the blueprints, start crafting. If your master rank is 5 or higher, you should be able to craft it. That's why you need 10 genetic codes here. Once completed, claim it and upgrade your incubator. Now, using 10 Kavat genetic codes and an incubator power core, you can team up 1 Kavat. Using the Kavat genetic code and power core will summon Adarza Kavat or Smeeta Kavat as an ally. The Adarza Kavat can increase Warframe's critical chance by Cat's Eye mod. They can also reflect attacks using the Reflect mod. Smeeta Kavat triggers various random buffs with Charm. It can increase critical chance by up to 200% or restore Warframe energy. Add more. The buff that doubles the amount of resources you earn is quite useful. If you use it alongside Resourceful Retriever, which I explained how to get earlier, you'll never run out of resources. Another great thing is that using the Mischief mod improves their survivability. If firepower is needed, go with Adarza Kavat. For gathering resources, Smeeta Kavat is a better choice. When you hatch Kubrow or Kavat, you may hatch the same species. If you had unlimited slots for companions, there won't be a problem. But in reality, it is not that simple. In such cases, you can send Kubrow or Kavat to the Lotus and open up 1 companion slot. With the companions you want to part with selected, access the incubator and press the section with the credit icon. Just enter the companion's name, pay the credit, and that's it. Say goodbye to your companion. Next, let's utilize genetic tools. First, buy the blueprint for the genetic code template from the market. You'll be able to collect the resources from Saturn, Venus, and Boy, etc. Once you have all the resources, let's create a genetic code template. After completing it, access the genetic tools in the incubator and select Create Imprints. Now, let's choose the beast you want to extract imprints from. You can only extract imprints twice from Kubrow and Predasite, and 3 times from Kavat and Vupaphyla. When you start the imprint extraction, you won't be able to bring that beast on mission for 90 minutes, so please be careful. The imprints you extract can be used to hatch Kavat or Kubrow. Open the Kubrow breeding or Kavat breeding section and access 2 slots below. Now let's select the imprints you have acquired. If you look closely, you can see the types of beasts from which imprints were taken. After choosing one, let's choose the other. When you use imprints of the same type of the beast here, you can summon a beast of that specific type. This imprint can be traded with others using the trade system. So, if you want to ensure you get the specific type of Kubrow or Kavat, it's a good idea to use the trading system to buy an imprint from other players. Now, let's use genetic tools to generate a Vasca Kavat. First, let's prepare a Kavat that hasn't had 3 imprints extracted. Then, let's head to the plains of Edoron on Earth at night. You should be able to encounter wild Vasca there, which only appear at night. Here, let them attack your Kavat on purpose. When they do, the Kavat will begin to glow faintly red. Also, if infected with Vasca virus by accident, it can be cured by equipping the gear and activating Vasca Curative, available to buy from Tessonite. With this, the virus has been successfully infected. Return to the ship and try extracting an imprint again, just like before. Here, you can cure the Vasca virus and secure Vasca Kavat's imprint. Once you have collected the imprint, repeat the same process again. Then use 2 Vasca Kavat genetic samples you secure to generate Vasca Kavat. Vasca Kavat has a unique mod called Transfusion, which allows them to sacrifice themselves to revive Warframe. However, you should note that this ability cannot be used during arbitration missions. You can also gain self-healing abilities with a unique mod called Draining Bite. The Vasca Kavat might just be the best choice for improving the survivability of both Warframe and Kavat. Now, let's team up with Beast Companions, Predasite, and Vupaphyla in Deimos. Unlike Kubrow and Kavat, Predasite and Vupaphyla do not require an incubator power core or genetic code. Instead, you need to conserve animals and go fishing in Cambion Drift on Deimos. First, let's go catch Predasite and the Vupaphyla directly. I have already explained how to capture animals, so let's refer to that guide and start capturing Predasite and Vupaphyla. Having a lure should increase your encounter and make things easier. Once you have secured them, it's time to complete the bounties. Complete bounties to earn tokens. Then, use your tokens at Grandmother's place to earn Entrati points. If you raise your rank in Entrati, you'll be able to buy exclusive mods, so be sure to do so. I've explained more specific ways to raise your rank in videos on the Helminth System, etc. Raise your rank and you'll be able to buy better things. Next, let's go to Sun's place and buy the blueprints for the Mutagen and Antigen. The Mutagen determines which element damage resistance will be applied to Predasite and Vupaphyla. Antigen determines the polarity of one of the slots in the mod slot. Predasite has its own mutagen and antigen, and Vupaphyla has its own mutagen and antigen. It's hard to know which one to use, but I recommend increasing toxic and slashing damage resistance and getting the Narmon polarity. If you have Narmon's polarity, it's easier to use Resourceful Retriever, which makes gathering resources much more efficient. So, for Predasite, I recommend Monocot Mutagen and Ibexen Antigen. Similarly, for Vupaphyla, it's best to use Fissure Mutagen and Plugin Antigen. Since I recommended Mutagen and Antigen, which have the same traits, the resources needed for Predasite and Vupaphyla will be the same. In other words, you need the Bomb and Fast Residue, Pasturite and Ganglion, and the Tubercular Geosystem, Cranial Foment, Benjen-infested tumor, and saturated muscle mass available from fishing. The residue for Bomb and Fast can be obtained in Cambion Drift by gathering red shards during the Bomb period and blue shards during the Fast period. You can get Pasturite and Ganglions by opening containers in the Cambion Drift. For the remaining two mutagen resources, catch the Myxomata found at the hotspots in the cave. However, keep in mind that this fish only appears during the bomb period in Cambion Drift. If it doesn't show up for a while, buy some processed bomb residue from Daughter and use it as a bait when fishing. You can get the remaining two antigen resources by cutting Chimaeros, which is always on the surface of the Cambion Drift. Once you have gathered all resources and crafted the mutagen and antigen, combine them at Sun's place. Let's team up with Vupaphyla from this section. First, let's select a Vupaphyla type from the top of the list. Here, I'll choose Panzer Vupaphyla. Next, select Mutagen and Antigen. You can use the checked Mutagen and Antigen items. This will consume the item and add the revived Panzer Vupaphyla to your inventory. Similarly, you can add Predasite to your allies from here as well. You can't name them in this state, so let's fight together until they reach the maximum rank. Once the rank reaches maximum, go back to Sun and select the bottom option. Here, starting from the left, use Sun's tokens and Entrati points to perform a guild. Now, let's assign polarity to one of the mod slots. I recommend Mudrine or Buzzring, and let's give Predasite and Vupaphyla names. Now, the guilding is complete. Once you raise the ranks of Predasite and Vupaphyla, you will earn a mastery rank. If you want to release companions due to companion slot limitations, select the bottom option and choose a release Predasite or Vupaphyla. Choose the beast you want to release. Confirm your decision and say goodbye. You'll also receive some Sun tokens. Next, let's review the types of Predasite and their abilities. There are three types of Predasite: Wazir Predasite, Pharaoh Predasite, and Magi Predasite. Each one has two exclusive mods. The Wazir Predasite can spray corrosive acid and blind enemies using the Acid Spittle mod. Plus, with the Electric Mycelium mod, you can restore your allies' health. It spreads corrosive damage and has health restoring ability, so it looks pretty good. With the Endobarstic Vector mod, Pharaoh Predasite can grow tentacles from enemies and spread viral damage. Additionally, Anabolic Lunation mod allows it to add toxic damage to our weapon. Combining area of effect attacks and toxic damage with Warframe's abilities sounds pretty powerful. Major Predasite can plant bombs on enemies using the Infectious Bite mod and put a single enemy into a finisher-ready state with Polaristic Spores. If you use two mods together and perform a finisher in Warframe, you should be able to harness their abilities. You can use Volatile Parasite mod for these three Predasites. With this mod, they can deploy maggots that charge at enemies, self-destruct, and deal viral damage. If you want to increase the variety of element, combining it with Vazio Predasite might be a good idea. You can buy Volatile Parasite with points once you have raised your rank to Friend in Entrati. When you want to spread corrosive and restore health, use Vazio Predasite. If you want to focus on area of effect attacks and increasing firepower, use Pharaoh Predasite. If you rely heavily on finishers, the Major Predasite seems like the best choice. Finally, let's review the abilities of three Vupaphyla types. There are three types of Vupaphyla: Sly Vupaphyla, Crescent Vupaphyla, and Panzer Vupaphyla. That said, unlike Predasite, the three Vupaphyla types share many features. First of all Vupaphyla can use dedicated Devolution mod. Install this mod, and when Vupaphyla is defeated, it can enter a larval state and revive after 30 seconds. The only difference is the element of its attack until it revives. Similarly, the Mater Symbiosis mod can be installed on any Vupaphyla. When installed, Vupaphyla will absorb the health from enemy corpses and sacrifices themselves to protect the Warframe when they are about to be defeated. If you install this mod on the Vupaphyla, they will become reliable like the Vasca Kavats. You can buy it when your Entrati rank is Friend. Now, let's take a look at the different types of exclusive mods. If you use the Survival Instinct mod, exclusive to Sly Vupaphyla will be immune to attacks from a short time when Warframe performs a bullet jump. If you use bullet jump frequently during missions involving a lot of movement, Sly Vupaphyla's survivability will skyrocket. By using Crescent Charge exclusive mod for Crescent Vupaphyla, you can deal puncture damage to enemies, knock them down, and inflict the puncture status effect. The puncture status effect weakens enemies and increases your critical rate. Since it can blow enemies away, it should also improve Warframe's survivability. The Viral Quills mod, exclusive for the Panzer Vupaphyla, fires needles that deal viral damage and inflict status effects. With its long-range attack and high attack frequency, it should be pretty useful. If you move around a lot and boost Vupaphyla's survivability, use Sly Vupaphyla. When enemy debuffs, knockback, and increased critical hit chance are needed, use Crescent Vupaphyla. And if you want to deal viral damage and inflict status effects, Panzer Vupaphyla is the one to use. Every Vupaphyla can sacrifice themselves for Warframe if you install Major Symbiosis. If you are confused, just install Major Symbiosis, Viral Quills, and Panzer Devolution on your Panzer Vupaphyla. They'll do a great job. That's an overview of how to team up with Beast companions in Warframe and their abilities. Thank you very much for watching. In the future, I plan to make videos about the mods needed for Beast. If you want more videos, please subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Bye.